Greetings! This is Rahma back again for my second posting on the lock roller. I took them out. This is part 2 actually. I took them out this morning. I took them out at about, I guess it was 10. So they have had, it is now 1:15, 3 or so hours to kind of fall just a little, but they're still pretty much like they were when I first took them out, just a tad bit looser. I'm more comfortable with the looseness. Initially I thought they're too tight. I wasn't quite sure if I liked them. Now I did run out last night. I had 40 of these. They come 22 a pack. I ran out in the back, and so what I ended up doing was I plaited these last night, and it did give me as a result a little extra length. I did run into some de-installation issues I think you might want to be careful with. With this lock roller and this pointed tip, once you put it in, and I think I spoke to you about the importance of bending it down so that this part, this pointed tip, does not continue to sort of move up through your scalp and create issues for you and cause your locks to maybe tear or just be rough on them a little bit. So it's important to bend it down. And when you get to the bottom, it's important to bend that up. And what I found was it's not just good enough for me to bend it up. I needed to bend it up and then twist it some to keep it really secure. So that is something you want to definitely keep in mind. Although I did that, it's important that when you unroll them, that you really have your hands at that top part, because that part even still will have moved and shifted throughout the night, and it can still get sort of caught up in certain parts of your hair. So you want to make sure that you definitely keep track of this. You want to be paying attention and be physically in the mirror when you take these out of your hair. It's not enough to just say, well, I rolled it clockwise and I can sit here on the bed while I'm watching TV or downstairs while I'm watching TV on the sofa and unroll it. It's going to slow you down, number one. And then number two, you will experience a little bit of, I did anyway, I experienced a tad bit of challenge trying to unroll some of them. Reason being, when you grab your hair, which is another point. When you grab your hair and you begin to roll, you may have different lengths of hair. Like I do. I have different lengths of hair. My hair is shorter at the top because I've had a lot of slippage up here. And so these parts are going to wrap and fall differently along the length of the lock roller. So when you're taking it out, hair is going to be wrapped at different levels of tightness and at different lengths along here, which can create a little tangle if you're not careful and if you're not paying attention to how you're actually taking them out. There were some instances where in the wrapping, and I thought I was very particular about the wrapping, perhaps I wrapped them too tight, but in the taking it out, I got to a point where it was stuck, so I just ended up rerouting the lock roller and then trying to unwrap the rest. So it's very important. And then when I got to my ends, because I'm so particular, I wrapped my ends very tight around the lock roller. So when it was time to extricate the hair, I had to be very careful, because if you're impatient, you're going to be tempted to pull the hair that's going to pull your lock. So a few things I would caution. Number one, I like the style. I can't see myself doing it on a regular basis. I'm not so sure how good it would be for my locks. They haven't all set, even though I've been at this for 2 years. As I mentioned before, I've taken some of the locks out and done various things in order to impact what I felt were some irregularities. So mine are not fully mature in certain areas, and I think that constant wrapping around here probably wouldn't be good because they're not totally mature. The other thing I wanted to say is I chose to moisturize mine after I took them out. I don't know, had I moisturized them the way I saw some of the other ladies in the video do, if that might have helped them to come to be unwrapped from the lock roller a little more easily. That's a possibility also. And when I did moisturize my hair. I just used the jojoba and the essential orange oil. It gives it a beautiful smile. It doesn't weigh my locks down. It's the closest to the sebum that your scalp naturally secretes. So I find it to be much lighter. Previously, I was using the Talia Wadjet, and I think that might have helped attract a little bit of lint to my hair. Although lint is going to be in everyone's hair, whether you see it or not, whether you have locks or not. Lint is a fact of life. It's on our clothing, it's in the air, it's in the dust particles that are around the house when you're cleaning. So you're going to have some lint. It's just trying to minimize that and use products that are light enough that don't actually attract a lot of lint. So I didn't use those heavy pomades and things like that I saw some of the other ladies layering on their hair. I would be uncomfortable with that amount of pomade on my hair anyway. But as I mentioned, be careful when you're wrapping these. Make sure you turn the tops down as well as the bottoms. Maybe the bottom you turn it over and you actually twist it. When you're unraveling, make sure you pay attention to what you're doing. This can become tangled somewhat, so you want to be very careful with that. If you have locks that are very new or have not begun to really settle, because of the way that you are required to wrap it around this tiny piece, it's probably not the best idea to use it on a continual basis too regularly. It could possibly affect the way your lock begins to settle. As I mentioned, I wrapped mine extremely tight. Next time around, I think I would grab more hair and wrap it a little less tight. But the one that I did do back here where I had more hair, I did see a looser curl. It's somewhere back here. I can't really see these lasting for 2 weeks. To be honest, this was one that might have been a little irregular. If you see that sort of a weak curl, I had 1 or 2 that were not quite the way the others were. But overall, I do like the way they look, if you can see them. I'm happy with the way they've loosened up, it seems, over the last couple of hours. They loosened up just a tiny bit. And I'm going to continue to experiment with these off and on over the next several weeks to see what other looks I can achieve, because something else I thought that might make a difference also is when you grab the hair, rather than grabbing it in a line and trying to twist, where you have hair that's vertically aligned, I would say try to grab the hair in blocks, like a box. Like if you were doing individual braids, try to grab it this way and wrap it. I think you'll have less of a chance of tangling. And then also, I also considered if you have hair of different lengths, it may be interesting to sort of twist it a little first and then wrap it around. And I would imagine that would probably give for a looser curl also. If you twist it a little first, just to make sure the hair was even, and any short pieces or any pieces that were irregular were sort of in the core of the twist, then you began to wrap it around here. Then you might find that you have a different type of curl, and as well, it's not going to be as tangled when it's time to actually take it out. But this is a work in progress. I do love these little rascals. I'm satisfied with the effect of what I was able to achieve. I will definitely try it again, and hopefully you'll stay tuned for a few of my other posts. I want to post a couple of videos on my hair care regimen, the removal of lint, how I deal with that. Also, I want to talk a little bit about the irregularities that I have dealt with in my hair and what I'm doing about that and what's happening to my locks and so forth. Again, this is Rahma. I enjoyed bringing you these little tidbits of wisdom. I hope you enjoyed it. I want to thank you again, and just to give you a closer look of the nature of what the lock roller achieved before I say my goodbyes. I do have a few pieces of new gray. Yeah, that's something going on right there. It's a piece of gray. In any case, thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Thanks a lot, and bye-bye.